Hi, I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is a Slice of New York. Spring is finally here. You can feel it in the air. Warmer weather means it's time to swap out those heavy winter coats and boots for something lighter, fresher, and if you're doing it right, a little more stylish. But navigating fashion isn't always easy. What's in? What's out? And how do you make sure you're turning heads for the right reasons? That's where we come in. On this episode of A Slice of New York, we're diving into spring fashion. What's trending? What's timeless? And yes, what to avoid. And to kick it off, we're talking men's fashion with an expert who knows it all, Jeffrey Ampotron. He's breaking down the hits and misses of the season, helping folks step up their style game just in time for spring.
New York may not be the fashion capital of the world, it's one of the big four, but it is certainly the fashion capital of this country.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Talk to me about fashion a little bit and how you got started. I mean, you're from the Bronx, right?
I'm born and raised in the Bronx, Boogie Down, home of the New York Yankees, 27 World Cup champions. I think, coming up in the Bronx as an only child, was raised by a single parent. For me, creativity was kind of like, the part that was really, really interesting to me. I wanted to do something creative, but coming from a West African background is either you're a lawyer, doctor, or just forget about it,
So you thought about dentistry at first, right?
Dentistry. So basically, I thought maybe that dentistry was like the closest artistic science that I can get to factory.
But why fashion?
I didn't have a lot coming up, so usually my mom would give me like $100 and I would go to Old Navy and I would stretch the $100 to several looks. I noticed that began to become a trend for me, and that's something I was good at. So I thought, let's see if we can take this creativity and move it into a career. So it wasn't until after college that I kind of got my first break.
Jeffrey knows fashion, from the runways to the streets.
You mentioned sports. You actually advise some athletes, right?
Yes. I work with a few athletes, few NFL players, few NBA players. I think what's interesting with the athletes is that most of their looks are all custom because they're either like 6'7" or very, husky and muscular. So the styling then becomes more like a personal one-on-one to try to like customize looks for a particular character. And I think there's some interesting levels of fashion that goes with that.
When it comes to men's fashion, he says it's about more than the threads.
It's really about grooming. And grooming is the door to style, and to having good style and to having good fashion. Because it starts with the way you put yourself together. If you feel good, you look good.
From there, guys can start to put in a little more effort and begin to try new things, like matching and developing a style.
What are the essentials now?
I'll give you three forms of style and then some essentials in each. So formal wear, your classic navy blue suit is fine. You don't need to do something that's like fast fashion. You can do something in a moderate level, maybe $100 to $120. But that's going to last you over time. And you can start switching out the shirt, the ties, the accessories to switch up and change up the suit's look. In the casual sense, a good luxury boot is a great foundation because with the boot, it gives you some height and then it allows you to wear a jean that can fold nicely on that boot. The boot just has to be great leather quality, doesn't have to be super expensive. With that, you can wear a t-shirt, sweater, you can swap out the sweater of any color as long as you have a good strong denim jean and a nice boot. When you get down to like the freestyle, more relaxed, streetwear vibe, the staple there would be a nice coat or jacket, regardless of where you're living. So if you're in New York City, a nice denim jacket or even a motorcycle jacket is nice because you can kind of grab it on the go and remove it. It's almost like a cardigan.
But New York is so expensive and inflation is a killer. So can you be fashionable on a budget?
1,000%. So I'm a big thrifter. The key to going to thrift is, are you going for color or silhouette?
Armed with that knowledge, we sat down in Herald Square to observe fashion in the city.
All right, this guy right here with the sweater. Let's talk about this look. So this is what we call the new Japanese-inspired fashion, where the look is more boxy. So like, you know, the Japanese Asian culture styles to the body and around the body, I should say. So you're seeing more like straight leg pants with a nice chunky boot. And then the jacket has like some silhouette where it's almost like shoulder pads, and it's a very boxy silhouette.
Does that work for everybody's body, though?
You know, great question, Mike. It fits more of the petite stature. So that look was a 5 out of 5 for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see this look a lot, you know? Guy with a vest on, Oxford shirt, knapsack, the khakis. What do you think?
It's not a great look. Now, if you remove the bag and then did like maybe a brown belt and the shoes were polished, he would get 4 stars.
Okay.
So this is that part of the trend that we're seeing now, is the oversized look. You know, there's gonna be a oversized blazer, that's an oversized coat. Obviously with women more than men, there are statement pieces. The bag is the statement piece. It's a Goyard bag. It's very, very expensive, but it's probably the only thing that she needs to, you know, to wear. It's almost like if you own a nice watch, like you wear like a Rolex, and you can wear a Fruit of the Loom matching jumpsuit if you want.
Right.
The watch is it for you made the statement, right? You feel comfortable in your own skin. That look was almost perfection. I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. With a nice touch of the hat, kind of keeps the hair in place while the wind is blowing here in New York City in the spring. So I think she does well.
So, what does fashion say about a man?
In menswear, it will immediately let you know how much a guy pays attention to his image.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more from Jeffrey and a panel of experts on spring fashion and some exciting news on a new program here at CUNY for fashion professionals and those looking to get involved in the fashion industry. This is a Slice of New York. I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is a Slice of New York. The flowers are blooming, the birds are chirping, and it's time to stretch your stuff with some of the hot new spring fashion trends. Here to help us out, we have a great panel. Jeffrey's back with us in studio now. He's a celebrity stylist, menswear expert, and he teaches at Fashion Institute of Technology. We also have a professor of design at Hunter College, Deepsika Chatterjee, or Deeps for short. She specializes in fashion and costume design with a focus on clothing history and cultural studies. And we have as an associate professor at City Tech and the Graduate Center, who also is co-director of the CUNY Fashion Institute, Denise Sutton. She teaches a Master of Arts course called the Culture of Fashion. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Denise, let's start with you.
Okay.
How do you really find trends?
So there's a whole segment of the fashion industry that studies trends. They're called trend forecasters. And what they do through a number of different methods is they predict what trends will be coming in a year and a half. And this segment of the fashion industry is very important because they write the reports that a manufacturer might buy, a textile mill might buy, to get the information they need to make the right styles and the right color textiles. So what you're seeing today has been in the works, like the trends on the street now, this has all been in the works for at least a year and a half. And the trend forecasters are the ones making these predictions.
Okay, but let me ask you all about this. So how do the trend forecasters forecast? Jeffrey?
It's an interesting question. I think it starts on the street level. You know, before we get into like luxury fashion, a lot of the trends, styles, and motifs are kind of caught out in the streets per se. Mm-hmm. Trend forecasting could also be another, you know, way of looking at what Instagram is doing right now, what TikTok is doing, seeing what the people are putting on Get Ready With Me, how they're dressing, and if something goes, even a little bit viral, you can see it carry over into the fashion industry, basically, yeah.
So you kind of tap into youth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever the influencers are doing, whatever they're posting, all of that gets caught up and gets magnified as trends. There were companies like Promo Steel who are still doing trends formally, but then they are also augmenting with all of the street style content.
Okay. I've got some trends here. Let's take a look at them.
Okay.
Let's start with women, okay? So what I'm seeing here are like some soft colors and flowing fabrics. Can you talk about that a little bit, Denise?
Sure. So pastels are really in this spring, but the pastels are a little bit different than what we've seen in the past in terms of the saturation of color. The color isn't necessarily as bright. The styling is important in this trend because the trends aren't hyper feminine, right? So you might style a very flowy skirt or dress with a pair of chunky Oxford shoes. So we're seeing the colors not just in apparel, but we're also seeing these colors in accessories. But they're not, every time a trend comes around, it has to have something new. So pastels have trended in the past.
Right.
But this time they're coming back around, and in some way they have to be modern to be a trend. They have to be reimagined in some way.
I noticed that the greens are very popular this year, and I've actually noticed that in accessories as well. Have you as well, Jeffrey?
I mean, yeah, look at the brochure I'm wearing.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for sure. I think whenever you're doing a monochromatic look and it is a trend, you have to be particularly careful if it's going to be print or pattern. So as you can see in the middle image there's a little bit of break in the green with, I think, maybe some of her stomach showing there, and then it kind of works, it balances with earth tone colors, so you get your greens and then your browns, and then that kind of works for the runway as well.
Okay. And Deeps, I'm also seeing like a floral design here, but once again, long, flowing, and very soft.
Yeah. And interesting thing with trends is they've been around in the past, in previous decades and previous centuries, but then they come back as new repackaged items, right? In this one, we see a lot of like tone on tone and color on color. Like it's not a very obvious green, it's like subtle.
Yeah,
The
it
subtlety
is.
is showing up. Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at some men's fashion now. So denim is back. Now, when I first heard this, Jeffrey, you mentioned it to me that, denim on denim was very good. That took me back a little bit because it's been quite some time since guys wore like a denim jacket and denim jeans, right?
Right. You're looking at like the old James Dean, Marlon Brando,
Yeah.
That vibe with the motorcycle jacket.
Or country western.
Or country
Yeah,
western,
yeah,
right.
country
I think of the Canadian tuxedo when I see
Exactly.
denim on denim.
Exactly. But I think if you can do the whole Canadian tuxedo and not do like a denim jacket and a denim shirt, so you have to pick your poison. And the takeaway is that the denim doesn't have to match. It shouldn't be a matching set.
Oh, okay.
Right. So would you agree? Like if the denim shirt is a little bit darker blue and then the jean is like a classic blue,
Yeah.
it works a little bit better. You want to do it with a brown belt or no belt at all, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
No belt at all. Then maybe you want to do like a Western boot. I think it's chef's kiss.
Yeah.
What about the way Kendrick Lamar has it?
Yeah, so interesting, he had his music quarrel with Drake, who is a Canadian rapper, and Kendrick is from LA, and he won the Grammy for the diss track against Drake. So the Canadian tuxedo that he wore was kind of like, a little bit of icing on the cake, which is one of the reasons that trends do take off. So this moment in social media was very, very paramount. It's like, how could he do that wearing a Canadian tuxedo?
Okay.
Normally,
Now, a lot of our viewers might not know what you mean when you say the Canadian tuxedo, so you're going to have to give us an explanation.
Right, so it's a play on denim, basically. That it would say originated from there, but it's a whole long history of denim here in the United States as well.
Okay, let's go to women now. Gingham and plaids. That's in this spring, right?
Gingham and plaids. So take a look at the vest in the middle. That's a gingham print. It's in the plaid family, but look at how muted the color is. So we have, just another variation on the trend of gingham. That not necessarily the blue or the red gingham, but there are some more muted tones this spring mixed in with the gingham. And so that's why I actually like that vest in the middle, because maybe you don't want that bright check, right? The thing with trends is you have to figure out what you can wear. So you really need to know yourself and maybe pull out an old gingham shirt that's already in your closet, right? We don't want people to overconsume just because it's trending. So one thing you can do is just go into your own closet and see if you have an item of apparel that's trending right now. Most everyone has a striped shirt, I would say.
Yeah, the whole trend of upcycling, shopping in your own closet, shopping in the thrift stores as opposed to, buying new, going into the store and buying brand new. Look at what you already have and kind of style it for yourself, right? Personal style.
Let's go back to men now. The monochromatic look. Now, this is something that you subscribe to, right, Jeffrey?
Yeah, definitely. Most people wouldn't realize, but styling a monochromatic look is more difficult than styling a non-monochromatic look, because you can get the colors wrong if you do it, in a left type of a way. For instance, this middle look is a monochromatic white, but it's really cream if the viewers can really see it. If you do an all white look, you might look like a painter or a cricket player, so you gotta kind of have to be careful. Black wouldn't really constitute as like a monochromatic, by definition is monochromatic, but you don't try too much effort in putting black on, right? So you would really only have like a brown and green that most guys in menswear would play with in terms of monochromatic.
And green is cool?
Green is the best, yeah, if you know how to pull it off, for sure.
No, I noticed that in the pictures we're seeing here, none of those are like T-shirts or crop collars or anything like that. They're all regular shirts with the flaps on the pockets and that sort of thing, right? Is that what's in now?
Right, well, it's a great observation. If you're going to put an outfit together, then it should be a standalone piece, right? Most people wouldn't consider a T-shirt as part of an ensemble, so to speak. So that piece, as you can see in the first one, he's wearing an open shirt, like heavy shirt. It's almost got like epaulettes on the shoulders, and there's this white look. And then there's a suit that has a turtleneck underneath, right, or a suit jacket. When you're going to do a monochromatic look, one of the statement pieces has to have weight to it, some gravity to it, because it is the first thing that people will realize when they see you.
Yeah, and as you layer, you sort of build formality and kind of weight, as you're saying,
Exactly,
right? You're doing a great
Well, thank you
monochromatic
very
look
much.
today.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's clean.
Yes,
He's clean.
that's right.
We're out on the street, the people were coming up to him every few minutes. Hey, Mr. Fashion. It was pretty
Because I was
good.
with you. It's because I was with you.
Okay, let's go back to women. A crafty, textured look. This is like a lot of beads and that sort of thing.
Yes. So 4 things that trend forecasters look at when they're trying to predict what will be trending. They look at color, they look at texture, they look at silhouette, which is the basic outline of the form, and they look at details. Details are things like the lapel, for instance, or the width of a pant leg. Here you're seeing a lot of texture. You're seeing a lot of crochet type apparel. I just stopped in at a store on the way here, and there's crochet all over. Whether you want an entire dress made out of crochet or you just want a little vest, that's very popular right now. Also, any kind of embellishment, like the fringe on the dress that you see there, that gives an outfit some texture.
Everything seems to be long and flowing. Is the mini gone? Is it out?
For now, trends come back around, so don't
Yeah.
look too sad, Mike. we will get that the mini skirt back.
You caught me.
This actually looks a lot 1920s. If you go back all the way 100 years, you'll see a lot of this.
Yeah, that's like a flapper dress
Yeah.
in the middle, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Very jazz, very simple.
That's right. And the
I was-
streamline.
I was noticing, I was at the mall yesterday for some reason, and I was noticing a lot of embroidery and applique, but very subtle, like self-color and self-color kind of, yeah.
Okay, let's look at the men's stuff again here. We're talking matching suits here and formal wear. And some of the stuff is very sharp. I like it. Let's talk about that formal wear, Jeffrey.
For sure. I think guys will start putting their ties back on dress down Fridays. You know, after the 2020, the tires were flapping in the air, the wind was taking them everywhere. So we need to bring it back into focus. So I think most guys are going to go with the matching set. So you know, the top matches the bottoms, the same jackets, the same pant, the tie, the shirt, socks. Unless you're going to do a no break in the pant, right?
Okay.
And then you're going to do a dress shoe. So the first suit, like the first suit, like the suit I have on, is Hive and Colony. So affordable prices for all of these matching suits if you're not trying to break the bank.
I notice all the ties are solid.
Right. So and they're all black. Yeah. I think whenever you're going to do a solid suit, the rule is if you're going to do a solid suit, you can do a solid tie. If you're going to do a suit that has, you know, some type of print or stripe on it, then you will still do a solid tie. So it's kind of like, you know, balance and proportion. But when in doubt, just go solid tie, you know, and you don't necessarily need to do the pocket square. As you can see, the first one doesn't have it, and the second two definitely have it.
What about the width of the tie?
Right, so the width of the tie is going to determine, well, it's going to be determined based on the width of the shirt collar. So remember your grandpa's collar that just came down, like the pointed collar came all the way down to his sternum? Daddy, can you breathe?
You making fun of me?
You would definitely have a more skinnier tie.
Okay.
You know, just like the mod suit in the 60s, JFK, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, right? Those guys. When you do more of a spread collar or like what they call an open collar, it leaves more width for a knot tie. So then you would do like your double Windsor, for instance.
Okay. For women, the preppy look, that's back again.
Yes.
Stripes.
Right, exactly. You see stripes in the middle look and in the sweater as well. But also in the pants, if you look at the silhouette of the pants, you see how oversized they are. So that's the modern twist on the preppy look. Preppy isn't going to come back looking like preppy did, you know, in the 80s. It's going to come back with a slight twist, and that's what makes it modern. So you have the stripes, and you have that oversized look in the
I
pants.
think I'm watching White Lotus here or something.
Yeah,
Very nautical.
right. Very resort looking.
Very resort. I was
Right?
gonna say resort look is back. And also notice how the proportion, right? The amount of denim we're seeing versus the amount of stripe we're seeing. You have to have that perfect proportion in order for the eye to not get.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, that's not the skinny jean either, right?
No. They're flares, and I have an 8-year-old always talking about flares and bell bottoms, like 1970s has come back again.
That's right.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kendrick Lamar, right? With his bell bottoms during halftime.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And finally, let's take a look at the men's boxy look here as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the look originated in Asia. So you know, the Japanese market, they design clothes around the body rather than to the body. So you'll start what we're seeing. We saw it last season, and I think this season is going to make a full-blown out appearance, where the shirt in general has this like shoulder pad appearance. It's cropped really short, so almost like to the waist. And then most of the looks have this shirt collar. Now, one thing to note, an important piece to note, is that most of the pants in this boxy look would either be a dark denim or a black, because the color, as he says, right, would then take away from the silhouette or the fabrication. So you kind of want to mute from down there and then focus on, you know, the bodice up top.
Okay.
So the eye leads to one area as opposed to the entirety
Right.
of the body.
Yeah, look at how long, the man that's wearing the green t-shirt, look how long his legs look in that photograph. And part of that is because the t-shirt is.
Is shorter, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to have to work on an upgrade for my own outfit here.
You're classic. You're classic.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about an exciting new program taking place this summer here at the Grad Center called the Fashion Institute. This is a slice of New York. I'm Mike Gilliam, and this is a slice of New York. This summer, the focus of a lot of the fashion world will be on CUNY and the Fashion Institute at the Graduate Center. Denise, tell us about that.
Well, this summer, Eugenia Paulette-Chali and I will be launching the Fashion Institute, which is a not-for-credit, month-long program. It will be here at the Graduate Center and all throughout the city. So we're bringing together academics and practitioners who work in the fashion industry to explore a number of different topics, from sustainability to how media is used in the fashion industry. There's an entire week on beauty and wellness. And Deeps is also involved in the Fashion Institute as an advisory council member, and I believe that you'll actually be giving a lecture.
Now, tell us about that, Deeps.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about how fashion sort of works with our cultural world, what's going on, race, our lives, immigration, so many other factors, right? All of that shape how we consume fashion and how we understand fashion. So I'm excited about unpacking that.
And this institute is really open to college students, people who work in the industry, maybe someone who has left the industry and wants to come back, and to other educators.
So, Jeffrey, I guess this would kind of be right in your area too, because you've done a lot of work even helping youth get involved in fashion, right? This sounds like a good program.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful program. I think there's an appetite for it now. I'm actually playing both sides. I'm a student here at the Graduate Center in the MALS program, Fashion Studies concentration. So I think, and I know that programs like this really help those that really want to consume fashion, especially from an international perspective. So you have a lot of students that come from abroad to New York City in the mecca of fashion to kind of get their taste of the industry. I think this program is exactly what they need. So, you know, from all levels, if you are an adult learner in college or even pre-college, I think this is the program for you.
Denise, what about the cost and how does a person get involved?
So registration is open now, and you can go to the Graduate Center website and search for the Fashion Institute, and you'll find all of the registration information. So the program is 4 weeks long, and each week is its own discrete module. So you can take 1 week on a subject that you're interested in, like sustainability, for instance, and just pay the fee for 1 week, or you could take 2 or 3 or all 4 weeks of the Institute.
Okay, that's going to have to do it. I want to thank our guests, men's style expert and celebrity stylist Jeffrey, a professor of design at Hunter College specializing in fashion and costume design, Deepsika Chatterjee, and an associate professor at City Tech and the Graduate Center who's also co-director of the CUNY Fashion Institute, Denise Sutton. Thank you to all of you, and thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Gilliam. We'll see you next time on A Slice of New York.